There's Karen. Fucking with my damn daughter. The hell. The lady can't even speak. You walk past, you see me standing around. I'm like literally like 6 feet from that lady. She walked past, she would. But tomorrow, starting tomorrow, I'm gonna speak to her. Hey, how you doing? Hi. How do you not speak in your neighborhood? You see somebody unfamiliar, at least something. Say hi. But that just tells me that to me, she's like you know how a dog do something and maybe pee in the house or crap in the house or something or tear up something, and you catch them and they just, they got that look on their face and they tail it between their legs and they hiding out in the corner because they know they're wrong. That's what this lady acts just like. And for those who don't know the backstory on it, my daughter moved out to California in January, and she was talking about how she wanted a puppy, or possible. She's had a dog at home, so, and I thought it would be a good idea because number one, it'll get out the house, and number two, it'll give her some type of safety and and just responsibility too. And so she worked with this. She was trying to figure out what kind of breed she wanted. So she came up with this idea, which I thought was a really good idea. Like maybe I'll just foster, and that way I can see different breeds and this, that, and the other. And if I come across one I want, I'll just keep. Well, fast forward to maybe about a month ago. Yeah, because she came back in May, and so she did that, and she had one dog, and it was, I don't know what it was, it was a mix of something. I have no clue. Matter of fact, if you're on the Facebook page or on my Instagram, you can scroll through Instagram, I think, at GI Operation. You can see the picture of it, because she was like, hey, what kind of, do you know what type of breed it is? It was like, it's a mix of something. But anyway, so I'd ask my friends. So she had that dog, and that dog was a rescue, I think out of Mexico or something, and she had it for about a week. And that's what she was supposed to have it for, a week, and then she would write a report, the dog's temperament and whatnot and habits, and and then she would write that write-up would go on the page's website, for adoption. Well, that dog got adopted really quick. Everything went cool. So she gets another one, a Mastiff or something. There's a picture somewhere. I should post a picture. I'll post a picture on my Instagram or whatever, Facebook. But maybe, so that was maybe about a week ago. And she had a dog. The lady told her up front it was 8 weeks, and she told the dog, hey, it's a whiner, right? And she had the dog. So she had the dog. She was texting me like, oh, I like this dog, he's big. And that's what she kind of wanted, something big and cuddly, and she wanted to cuddle with it. And she was like, oh, this dog likes to cuddle. I'm like, freaking, it's a puppy, of course it does. But anyway, come nighttime, dog's whining. She calls me up late. Why are the dog's whining? I'm like, yeah, dog doesn't have his mom, he's a puppy, and yada 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 yada. It just has to kind of get through that period, and it's in a new house or new surroundings. So she said, yeah, that's what Google said too. She was trying to figure it out. So anyway, she was sitting out in the patio or whatever with the dog, and the patio, now I know the patio is bricked in, so you can't like walk out the patio. It's not like a door or anything, and it's probably like a 3-foot concrete wall, 4 foot, something like that. Like people walking on the sidewalk really can't see in, but you can see over because it's kind of elevated a little bit. So anyway, and the lady next door, and she's on the end, and then the lady next door, her patio bumps up against ours, and so if the dog goes over that wall, he's gonna end up in her patio and be stuck too. But apparently, she came in the house and she was sleepy. She went to sleep. It's like even right now, it's like 84 degrees, and windows are down. You can actually open your windows for real and cut off your air. It's comfortable. So, because I don't know, like Metro Los Angeles area or whatever in the valley, but it's really nice. So anyway, I guess the dog got out and somehow it was whining, which you can hear. Especially these people, they're always out. I sit outside. They constantly walking their dogs. They walking their dogs like 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. So, people are always out, and the dog is whining. And these houses are kind of close together too. I mean, really close. Like it's just a sidewalk. I don't know. I guess it's townhouses, but like you share like a common wall with your neighbor, and then there's a sidewalk. So she's on one end, and it's just a sidewalk and a little sliver of grass, and that's it for that walkway. And then there's the next house. But anyway, she this lady, that the Karen lady I was just recording, what she did was, I guess she was walking her dog, because she's out a lot. I see her a lot, even though her ass don't speak. So she should know everybody in the damn neighborhood, but she don't want to know me, and I don't know why. I could only assume why. But anyway, she calls the homeowner association president. She calls the rescue. She grabs the dog. So the dog got out. It's a puppy, so ain't no telling. So we're trying to figure it out. And she grabs the dog. I don't know if the dog got out or she grabbed the dog. She texts the rescue place like, "Oh my God, no human should ever should treat a dog. Nobody should treat a dog like this. That is so inhumane. You leave a dog out all night." Da, 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 da. I'm like, wait a minute. My daughter's telling this in tears. And I'm thinking to myself, it's a dog, right? And then I guess another lady had brought the dog back or whatever, but she, like another lady, and she brought the dog back. That was, hey, dog, I'll grab it, whatever. But, so this lady was like, it's coyotes out here, and da-da-da, and I'm like, okay. I'm talking to my daughter, I'm like, okay, how long was the dog out there? She's like, well, Poppy, I just came in like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. At 6:30, I'm receiving phone calls. I'm like, oh shit, these people, whatever, they overreacted. I'm like, okay, so the dog got out. I'm like, did it bite anybody? No. Anyway, but then she the lady from the rescue calls her and just blows up on her. What are you doing to the dog? And da 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 da. Instead of asking, hey, what's going on, which a normal person would do, because she just overreacted over not having all the facts. That this Karen lady, and like they was threatening. They told the lady, if you don't come get this dog from this, she doesn't know how to treat a dog, and they said they're gonna call the animal control. And I'm like, what? But they know whose house the dog is at, and how come you can't let a dog outside? I mean, even for a couple of hours at night. I mean, hell, this would be the perfect time. I can understand if you was bitching when it's 100, 105 degrees in the daytime, but 80, 85 degrees with a nice breeze, no humidity, very little at night, it's more of a perfect time. Like, I got my windows down, I'm sitting in front of her house, but I'm just tripping off these people. And then, so the lady just blows up my, like I said, my daughter called me, she told me the story. And I'm listening to it, and I'm like, so, asking my questions, gather my facts to make sure. I'm like, hey, let me see if you did anything wrong. I could see. And so I'm like, do you have her text messages? And she's like, yeah, the lady sent them to me. She forwarded them to me. This is what the people were saying. And so then I'm like, okay. So I hit the lady. I called the lady, and I was like, hey, this is, the dad. What's going on? And she tells me, well, I got a phone call. I got text messages, and da-da-da. And I'm like, okay, I get that. What was the reason for blowing up at my daughter, though? Without gathering all the facts. Well, I was agitated and I was getting this, and I'm like, she said, but once I realized, I called her back. I was like, okay, so when you called her back, what did you say? I said, well, I said, did you apologize? No, I didn't exactly. That's what you need to do. You just called a 19-year-old and basically start screaming at her. This girl has had dogs since she's been a baby. Well, not a baby, but like 8, 9 years old. And and she didn't do anything wrong. Dogs get out. Puppies, especially puppies, they chew up shoes. They do things they ain't supposed to do. Pieces of car, furniture, all types of shit. But now that you got the information, you know that it wasn't anything that she did that was inhumane to a dog. Well, the lady said the coyotes. I'm like, ma'am, did you know there was coyotes up there before you gave my daughter this dog? That would have been something that you would warn her about. Well, I didn't know there was coyotes up there. Well, you know what? Neither did a 19-year-old from Indiana. We don't have coyote problems in Indiana. Like, I think a year or two ago, it was a coyote loose in Chicago, and it was on the news for like 2 days or 3 days, like coyote watch. Like, they was following in a helicopter or some shit. People was following their doorbell cameras. That's what it was. But anyway, that's all this lady had to do. Hey, I just want to get your heads up. There's some coyotes out here, and this. Because I'd asked my daughter about the coyotes, and I'm like, well, is there signs up to say beware of coyotes? Usually that's what happens when there's a certain type of problem with an animal. Beware of bears, beware of wolves, beware of owls, beware of rats. Like in Chicago, in New York City, hey, beware of rats. These ain't pets. They may be big, but anyway. So, yeah. So I was like, look, like I said, you need to call my next girl. And she's 19. Like, yeah. Soon to be 20. Oh, man, I thought she was so much older the way she carries herself. Exactly. You think her parents are that irresponsible to send her 3,000, let her go 3,000 miles away from home by herself? And she's not going to school right now? Just because? Nah. Nah. But anyway, trust her with a house, all this stuff, I'm like, nah. But, yeah. So, and I know she's a young girl in this little middle class neighborhood, or not middle class, middle age, These people ain't that much older than I am, or that much younger. We're all about the same age. I done drove around a few times, but I've been sitting in front of her and I watch these people, and you see a face. I've had one person stop, and I made sure that I put the word out for the neighborhood. Karens, the lady next door. I guess she knew my baby's mom, but when she looked at me, she was like, I ain't got nothing to say to you. Yeah. I know what that means. And I'm really good with building rapport quick. But nothing. And that ain't, yeah, this is cool though. But they know who I am, and that lady to mom, I'm gonna speak to her because I need to say something to that lady, and she'll probably get upset and whatever. But I'm like, hey, I just don't think it was handled correctly. But I also think that they'll leave her alone too, because now they know. Like right after that happened, her mom came in and I came in too, which was already pre-planned to a certain extent. I knew I was coming out here. Her mom was coming out in her regular scheduled time, and I'm coming through to hang out and then finishing up the vacation or whatever. But yeah, it seems like we both came in town for this because it's like I was in Utah at the time and I was on my way here driving. Her mom was flying in that day or something like that, or the next day. But nobody's come over and say, hey, I just want to say I'm sorry for overreacting. No. And then my daughter says she when she's in the garage doing stuff, or she can hear these people talking about her, and then they using the little neighborhood app and they talked about it and this, that, and the other. It's just that's you don't do that to a 19 or a young girl. And if you saw it was a problem, and if I knew this happened in my neighborhood, I would tell the person, hey, I just want to give you a heads up. There's such and such in this neighborhood. Just like people that knew I was going to be golfing when I came out west. Hey, be careful. There's rattlesnakes out here in some parts of these desert courses. That's not something I got to worry about in Indiana. I mean, a little garden snake or something, maybe every now and then a boa, but not something that got some venom. Yeah. But anyway, y'all, you can check out the videos. But check out some of the videos from some of the, from my dash cam and whatnot, and the video that I've taken from my phone, from some of the national parks. I stopped in St. Louis and Kansas City and Denver and Arches National Park, which is really cool, and Zion National Park, and I played golf at a few of those places in the mountains. You should check them out. Just scroll back through the videos. Make sure you subscribe to them. I'm trying to get to 1,000. Peace, y'all.